Hello friends, how are you all? Hope all of you are fine. Hope all of you are doing well. Hope all of you are going through the videos along with me. Keep reading, keep watching my videos, read along with me, and definitely you will become fluent in English. So now let's move to the next chapter of our English reading time, the story of Silk. No sooner had the children gotten over their excitement of the visit to Rehmat Chacha's house than Ajji sprung another surprise. There was a wedding in the village. Having attended some village weddings earlier, the children knew what to expect. Here, it was not like the city where you went to at a certain time printed on the card, gave your present, ate, and came back. In the village, everyone was invited whether your name was on a card or not. And not only were you expected to come as early as possible, you were also expected to pitch in and help the host. So Damu was seen rushing off in the jeep to pick up guests from the railway station. Rehmat Chacha was in charge of providing fresh vegetables from his farm. Ajji was herding a group of women into the kitchen and telling them what to do. Ajja was supervising the cleanliness and had stocked up on big bottles of phenol and other cleansers. And Vishnu Kaka was dressed in his best, most spotless dhoti and kurta and was looking after the guests. Ajji told the children to wear their nicest clothes and come to the venue. Krishna, always careful of the way she looked, wore her pretty blue silk frock. Ajji noticed and said, Krishna, remember to be careful. There will be a lot of people and food there. Don't get your clothes dirty. Krishna promised to be careful. Soon Ajji disappeared into the kitchen, which was lined with people chopping and stirring and cooking. Outside guests were pouring in, and Vishnu Kaka was making sure everyone was served breakfast. Ajja was seen hurrying about with a bottle of phenol in his hand. Rema Chacha was taking care of the flower decorations, while Pirambi Chachi was, was stringing piles of garlands. Children were playing all over the place. Film songs played on the mic, and there was a happy chaos everywhere. After the wedding, during lunchtime, while eating sweet pancakes of chiroti with badam milk, someone jostled Krishna and a big puddle of milk fell on her. I'm turning the page. Dress. She was grief stricken. Ajji consoled her. Don't cry. Silk can be washed and made to look just like new. That is the wonderful thing about it. Seeing Krishna's tear stained face, she said, Today, when we go home, I will tell you the story of how silk was made for the first time. That made Krishna happy. That night, though Ajji was tired, she still told the children the story of silk. Did you know that silk was discovered in China? A long time ago, in a tiny village in China, there lived a poor girl belonging to a weaver's family. One day, the emperor was passing through the village and saw her working in the fields. He noticed her red cheeks and rosebud like mouth, her proud bearing, and her work worn hands, which meant she worked very hard through the year. He immediately fell in love with her and, though he was much older, decided to marry her. The girl married the ruler of the land and went to live in his palace as his beloved queen. But she was unhappy. She had grown up in the wild, open spaces of the countryside, and now she was confined to a palace. Magnificent though it was, she was used to working from dawn to night without a moment's rest. But now she had many servants to take care of her needs and did not know how to fill her time. In the village, she had been surrounded by family and friends who exchanged news and gossip as they worked, but in the palace it was quiet and no one spoke out of turn. The emperor noticed his new wife was sad and tried his best to make her happy. He bought her grand clothes, jewels, and artifacts. Through elaborate parties, hired the best musician of the land to amuse her, yet she was sad. One afternoon, the empress sat under a mulberry tree in her garden, lost in her thoughts about her village. She slowly sipped hot water from a cup, staring up at the blue sky. The girl remembered the birds that flew over her village. Then, sighing softly to herself, she picked up her cup to take another sip. But what was this? A cocoon from the mulberry bush had dropped into her hot water. Her first thought was to throw away the water and the cocoon, but then she took a closer look and she saw some threads peeping out from the cocoon. Where had they come from? She pulled the threads. They were thin, strong, and shiny. She kept pulling, and a long line of thread came out. Now, the Empress had a great idea. She would take the thread from many cocoons and weave soft, strong cloth from it. So you can see her, a bowl of water. She called her servants and everyone got to work. They took cocoons out of the mulberry tree, dropped them in hot water, and removed the thread. They gathered a fair amount of yarn. Then the queen ordered a special weaving machine and wove the first piece of cloth using his new thread. The silk, the best and brightest form of cloth, was weaved. The manufacture of silk spread throughout China. It was the cloth that only royalty could wear and was much in demand in lands as far as Rome. The road through which silk was traded between China and Europe through Asia was called the Silk Route. Now that the Chinese had learned how to make silk cloth, they did not want to share this knowledge with anyone in the world. Generations of Chinese royalty were sworn never to reveal the secret to anyone. When princes got married and went away to far off lands, they were not allowed to tell anyone in their new home how silk was made. Many years later, when a clever princess was leaving her house on getting married, as was the custom, her bags were searched carefully to check that she did not carry anything that would help her make silk. This princess had been weaving silk from a young age and wanted to continue to do so wherever, I'm turning the page, she went. She had hidden the cocoons in her long, elaborate hairdo. No one thought of looking there. When she went to her husband's house, she took out these cocoons from her hair and started gathering silk thread. In this way, legend goes, the knowledge of how to make silk left China. So, please go through this chapter along with me, read along with me, and it's an interesting story. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Take care.